Hey everybody, welcome to the Buffett's Buffet podcast, Hampton Apartments edition. It's been a little bit, I know. I don't know, has it been about 5 days, a week since my last podcast? You know, shit happens, life happens. Other things become more important than sitting in a seat and talking into a phone like it's a confessional. When you do these kind of things, you're talking to nobody, but hopefully somebody down the road. So, like right now, I am staring at Chris's Pancakes house over the phone. That's my audience. Hey, everybody. They're closed. And so is the seasoning of their hash browns, but that's a whole nother post. But today we're going to be discussing a few different things. Devil Wears Prada 2, finally watched that. A movie I was bummed about missing the screening to. Comes out in August, but I might have another chance to see it. And maybe a little bit about the Cardinals. Yes, you non-baseball people have to put up with me discussing a little bit of baseball. No, I'm not driving. I feel like when I should do this podcast, I should be like, well, everybody. But sometimes you just got to know what to do with your hands. And so we're going to get into a lot of different things. Kind of a 5 things on my mind, but maybe not really 5, maybe 6, maybe 4. But first off the bat is the Devil Wears Prada 2. Came out this year, a good amount of time. I want to say off the top of my head, 20 years after the first one, which did really well. Showed yet another side of the wonderfully talented Meryl Streep. Kind of was a big launching pad for Anne Hathaway and even Emily Blunt, and of course Stanley Tucci, just the best. He can show up in any movie. He's on like the Bernthal list. If he shows up, it's going to get better. Okay, he made crappy Transformers films good, okay? I mean, you had Mark Wahlberg going, say hello to your mother for me, and jumping off buildings and running away from stuff and running to the ATM to cash his paycheck for giving in a half-wit performance. I mean, he is so capable of doing a lot of good work. But there are times where he kind of phones it in. Even the movie Flight Risk, where he kind of employed a couple different accents, Southern, and then, New York gangster, and he kind of played a over-the-top villain. That was still him kind of going for it. It was lively Mark Wahlberg. It's not like I'm shooting at Transformers that are on a green screen. So, it's one of those things where Stanley Tucci can show up in a Transformers movie and make it a lot better. Just by playing the CEO of a company that's making robots, but he just kind of injects a little bit of that greatness into an otherwise forgettable thing. So they all come back for the sequel. Devil Wears Prada 2 has the same director. That's kind of a not always a common thing when sequels happen decades later. Sometimes you get somebody new, but I think his name is David Frankel. Came back to direct the sequel, and it's got a solo writer. I do not remember her name, but I love when I see one writer on a movie, one mind crafted that story. Not like scripts that got 2 or 3 people. I mean, heck, there's been scripts with 2 or 3 different sets of hands on it that won an Oscar. But it's just nice to see when there's one mind behind it. No rewrites, no messing around. Possibly rewrites, but as far as we know, one woman wrote this story, and it picks up in the same world. Meryl Streep's fashion giant of the magazine Runway is kind of having some challenges. And, of course, if you watch the end of the first movie, Anne Hathaway chose to leave and go become a journalist. And this movie, the sequel, also mixes in kind of a really dire outlook, a realistic one at the world of journalism, how newspapers are pretty much non-existent. They still exist, just, you see anybody in a coffee shop looking at a newspaper, man, you're almost like looking at a relic. And this is from a guy who ran down his childhood street of Tholosan to get a newspaper out of the Post-Dispatch machine as a kid, whether he was wearing pants or not. Those weren't important. What important was I needed to see the sports section and then the everyday to see what movies came out. But this movie tackles that, especially in the first part of the film. Anne Hathaway's journalist. I think her name is Anna. Maybe or is it the same name? See, there's some in these movies, like Emily Blunt's character is called Emily in the movie, and I'm pretty sure Anne Hathaway's character is called Anne. Meryl Streep is called, of course, Miranda. But their paths cross again because when she loses a job, Anne Hathaway, she has to get another and potentially reunite with the woman who made her life miserable and then kind of became her mentor. If it's not Stanley Tucci, who of course plays Nigel, who works for Meryl Streep, kind of one of those right-hand man that any company would love to have. He could be the leader, but he can also do several different jobs, and he plays that role well. Him and Anne Hathaway have a really good chemistry, and Emily Blunt does come back, but it's a different kind of role that I don't really want to kind of spoil, maybe if other critics have, but there's some unconventional routes that are not exactly unrealistic if you know the character from the first movie, and you think, well, is she capable of doing this? Maybe. And so some of these characters come back together, and some of them are aligned against each other. And I think the movie kind of plays with that really well. It is a fan service movie, fan service sequel. They knew what they were doing when they made this movie. They knew what they were taking when they looked at the script and when they got everybody back. It's one of those things where it is this is for people who love the first movie, because it takes a step into a new time period, 2026 or right around near it. Takes the state of journalism, which was still thriving back in, I think, 2004 when this one came out, and then kicks it up 22 years later, and things are not so good. If it's, the president putting a stifle on journalists just trying to do their job, or just the general non-consumption of news, at least from a newspaper, even the magazines are going out of style. It's all online. I mean, look, you're going to watch this podcast online. Do you think you're going to go look for a newspaper to look something up that I discussed? No, you're just going to open a different window in your Safari on your iPhone. Hold on. You got 7 windows open, food takeout, this podcast, and then researching stuff. And then you still have another 4 to go if you want to use them. Actually, you can use as many tabs as you want. That's the way people consume news. And so this movie mixes that in, because Runway is trying to survive. And they have some challenges, some legal issues, creative issues, maybe a rock that needs to be turned upside down with a new side to get some sun on. In other words, kind of make something old new again. I thought it was good. I don't think it was great. I'm not going to really watch it. I'm not going to be like, oh my gosh, stop what you're doing. Stop this podcast. Put down the massager and go watch this movie. Move from your bedroom to your couch, or stop watching. No, it's a good movie. It's for fans of the first film. I do think the obvious question that could I just watch this without watching the first one? Yes, but you would lose a lot of what brought these characters together. There are no flashbacks. I wanted to appreciate this, give a tip of the cap to the screenwriters and the directors for not, go with a black and white screen, and then there's them in the first movie. You have the characters back. You don't have to flashback. So it is a good film. I mean, it's like one of those B. I give it a B. I give it a thumbs up. I give it a 3 out of 4. 3.5? No. 3. It's like, it's not a 2.5. It did its job. And Stanley Tucci, Meryl Streep, Emily Blunt, Anne Hathaway, Adrian Grenier, the boyfriend of Anne Hathaway from the first movie, does not show up. That was pretty well written about. They were like, does he make a comeback? And I think they were talking about it, but there wasn't really a place to put him in. In the movie, Anne Hathaway's character has a new love interest. He's kind of cool. So it would have been weird to have, the cook show back up and go, hey, Entourage I did a long time ago and I need a job. No, he's fine. He's one of those guys that is on a hit TV show, Adrian, and then he just kind of, drifts off into putting money into his good cause. That is rain starting to fall. We are, after all, in a St. Louis summer. Even the spring may be bad, but the summer still does bring the rain. But yeah, let's just say the sequel doesn't rain on the parade. There you go. Look at that segue. I still got it from the inside of a truck in a Southwestern Hampton parking lot. Not in a radio studio, but I'm finding my own way. But if you like the first one, you'll like this one. So it's on Hulu, streaming for free. It just popped up there as somebody who watches Hulu. If he's not doing this at lunch, I am in the workout room of our company, Crescent, laying on the floor, not working out. Now, I work out lifting plumbing, but on my lunch break, if it's too hot or if I don't have a podcast really, I have no reason to do a podcast, or I'm just being lazy, or I already sweat through a shirt and a half, I go in there and lay down, and the one streaming service I have at that TV at work is Hulu. I've been watching I Am Robot with Will Smith, very underrated movie from the Will Smith action-adventure smoker era. That's where he was just, everything he put out was smoking. It was great. And that's a good movie. Kind of with the introduction of AI and the serious involvement of people's lives, iRobot might be worth a rewatch. But this just popped up yesterday or Wednesday. What day is it? Do you ever just work so much and do so much other stuff that you forget what day it is? That's where I'm at. Yes, the rain is coming down, so the sound may get a little muddled. Again, if you record a podcast outside in St. Louis summer or spring, you are going to have a supporting character called the rain. Comes and it goes, sometimes all day, sometimes at 18 different moments in the day. And I'm like, look at this. Yeah, I'm not going to move the phone, but you have an older couple walking their dog in the rain. The dog is like, what is happening? This is bullshit. I was promised a treat and a dry walk, but no, that's good. I have walked my pit bull, Leroy, in the rain. He is not a fan of it, partially because he doesn't have any fur, so it's basically hitting his skin. And unlike us, dogs don't like that. Just like imagine if you were just outside with no shirt on and walking on all fours, and this rain is just hitting your back with little fur. Thankfully, most of the year I have fur. Anyway, the Cardinals are past the halfway point, and they're not looking so good. They are 54 and 55. I know that because I happen to check the standings. And look, folks, I said it on Facebook. I've said it everywhere. I said it at work to anybody who would listen. Sometimes you got to bounce material off your coworkers, whether they like it or not. I hear all their crap, so I run some ideas past them and see if I can actually discuss it. Because that's the way you can kind of train to do a podcast or to do any kind of thing like this, is you just kind of get to somebody, and that is your camera, that is your audience, that person, and you just start rapid fire, and you tell them, hey, let me know if this sounds good, coherent, worth talking about, or worth just keeping in my brain, like a lot of things should be kept, let's be honest. And now the rain has slowed down. It will speed up again by the next subject. But look, the Cardinals are what I expected them to be, what everybody should have. They are rebuilding. You don't like that? Tough shit. It's happening. We're like, oh, we're rebuilding. Yeah, well, let's just have a $170 million roster and still finish in third place. Or you can strip it down, and look, you can use any metaphor here. Knock down a building, rebuild it. Strip down a car of all of its parts. Put a new engine in, put new tires on, new battery, new brakes, new color, new look. Thankfully, the Cardinals jerseys are still red, white. Sometimes, well, wait a minute, they don't have the blue cap. Almost like red, white, and the road ones are kind of like gray. A very dull gray. At least when they wore the blue caps on the road, it was just a little bit better. But this is like that. Chaim Bloom, the new president of baseball operations, Mr. John Mozeliak, the guy who had the job before him, is now with the Los Angeles Angels. Good luck, John. That's a shit show. But you know what? If anybody can do it, you can. And, well, yeah, you see, and the thing is, you have an aging Mike Trout. You don't have Shohei Ohtani anymore. Sorry. He's gone. And you have a team that I don't check the standings, but as far as, I don't check the American League standings, but I don't know what they're doing. I don't think they're great. But the former Cardinals, baseball operations runner is now out there. But Chaim Bloom with the Cardinals has a plan. And the early season success, where the Cardinals won more games than I think anybody expected them to. They went from being an old roster to being a young roster, an expensive roster to being a very cheap roster. And that's going to have some trials and tribulations, some good, some bad, and, unfortunately, kind of a lot of ugly. And they're going to get beat by the Cubs, and they're going to get beat by the Brewers, and they're going to get, their ass handed to them by the Angels. That was Mozeliak last week. His team faced off against the Cardinals, and I'm pretty sure the Cardinals lost 2 out of 3. Again, I don't cover the team enough. And it's not because some listeners, watchers, you know who you are. You're snoozing through this. Or maybe just because you like me, you're going to listen to me rant about baseball, even if you couldn't give any less of a care about it. But I don't watch enough anymore. You have to be committed to watch baseball. It's 162 games a year. Not 17 at the NFL. I know they play more. It's not 17 or 18. It's not 82 like in basketball and hockey. It's 162. That's a commitment. Sometimes people just aren't ready for that kind of commitment. You're ready for maybe, 60. I'll watch 60 games 2 times a week, spread it out over the whole season, the 6 months. But to cover the team, other than like right now, where I get the updates on my phone when the game starts, every score, so I know who's doing what just by looking at my phone. So I could be doing this, or even at work when they're playing a day game, and I'll go, okay, this J.J. Weatherholt knocked in a runner. This guy did this. I know the result. I can watch video clips, which I do a lot. That's how I consume my baseball. Highlights, sorry, I'm at that point. I don't watch enough movies. But ones I do watch, I usually do a review for. So the Cardinals, again, are who we thought they are who we should have expected them to be. They're not going to really contend until 2028. Next year is another kind of year you toss it up. Now, on the 3rd of August, here in a few days, the trade deadline will expire. I mean, that's when the deadline hits. The ability to make big trades expires officially, I think, on Monday. And so I do expect the Cardinals to start here and like this many parts, and then maybe go down to like this many. They're going to lose some people. They're going to probably lose Jojo Romero. Dustin May was given those goodbye hugs in the dugout after his start at Busch Stadium the other night. That means he's leaving. That's when you're telling your teammates, it's been fun, but I'm going to go put another jersey on. Bye-bye. He was kind of brought here on the idea of that, a one-year deal for a guy trying to get back to where he was a few years ago. And for a one-year deal, that means you were always tradable. I mean, every team knows what they're getting, and they're getting the last 2 months before they offer him another contract. But he's going to be gone. Lars Nootbaar could be. I don't know what value he really holds as he gets older, other than what he's already done, which is, he's good, or he's injured, or he's just kind of adequate, or he's just or he's a disappointment. He goes through stretches like anybody else, but how much can he offer a team that is getting younger and got a long-range look at the playoffs? So he could be on the move. I think 4 or 5 different players for sure could be traded. So Riley O'Brien, the closer, he's not exactly a shutdown closer. He takes rough Isringhausen, the rough Jason Isringhausen era, when he kind of had some rough patches as a closer, and man, he put runners on base. He loaded the bases. He lit a fire around the mound, basically, lit a fire around the game's outcome, and then he would escape it or he wouldn't. So Riley O'Brien's a little like that, but he could be on the move as well. But we'll see. What's going to happen is going to happen. It's like getting really worked up about the NFL draft. Sitting there and watching all the teams like, hey, they're picking next. Guess what? The whole list is going to be available tomorrow. Whoever gets drafted is going to get drafted. Our effect on that process is very minimal. Our idea is to enjoy the game. It's the player's job to have to win them. Their job depends on it. If Mason Wynn continues to not hit and his defense kind of takes a hit, he's not doing his job. His job is to help the Cardinals win games, not hit lazy fly balls and weak ass ground balls. That's not his job. So our job is to consume it and like it. Don't let it bring you down. I used to be that guy. I'd watch every game. If they lost, I would pace my front porch like a guy who just lost $50,000 on Wall Street. I'm like, they should have did this. They should have brought him in to pitch. It's just not worth it. Go watch a movie. Have some sex. Have some good food. Don't say, what did you do last night? I watched adult men put on a costume and play a game. And let me tell you, the whole night went to shit. And if they win, it's great. But if they don't win, it's agonizing and stupid. And you're better than that. So don't let them get you down. The minimum salary in baseball is $560,000. You know what I'm going to do for that guy who has an 0 for 4 night? I'm going to play him the smallest violin ever. It's so good. Even all the other fingers are going to move too as I play this little violin. It's so good. Look at this violin. It's like, yeah. Or I can get out the real one and just kind of, stop caring so much. It's just baseball. It's just a game. It's not you're not playing it. Watch a movie. Have some sex. Again, people, don't run from that, okay? Don't run from pleasure. And that is your out of nowhere hot take. When you consume Bernie Nicholas's podcasts, and a lot of his thing is on, he has a big break about sex. It's on your mind. And so that's what I'm just saying. But it's also one of those things you should be doing than wasting time on a baseball team that maybe isn't worth the watch. And it doesn't make you any less of a fan. It doesn't make you any less of a person. It's all about where you choose to put your time. So Go find somebody and spend some time with them. But if you want to watch the game, know that they could lose and it could really piss you off unless you have the ability at the end of the game, done. Go watch a movie after that. Rinse down a bad loss with a good movie. And that movie could be, again, iRobot, Devil Wears Prada. You could watch The Gray Man on Netflix, but it's awesome, underrated. Film critics who didn't like that movie, film critics are just a big, pointless bunch of assholes. Wait a minute. Anyway, a lot of them didn't like that movie. I loved it. Let's think of other movies, random movies. You miss Paul Newman? Watch Nobody's Fool. It's a great movie. He gets to throw Bruce Willis through a window. Let's watch Bradley Cooper in American Sniper. Watch Bradley Cooper about anything. Watch Bradley Cooper play a Cardinals fan who watches way too much baseball. I'm in. Watch Silver Linings Playbook, Jennifer Lawrence, when she was still kind of a budding actress, not who she is today. It was like, she's great, but she was unknown for the most part, except for Hunger Games. But it was more like, what can she really do? And she played the heck out of that part. I mean, I wanted to date her, and she was fucking crazy. But yeah, watch a good movie. I would rate movies over baseball right now. Sorry, it's just the commitment required is kind of better. Sometimes you just want to have some fun over that long-term shit, which is kind of a baseball fan deal. You have to watch, the off-season for the most part to see what they're going to do. And then you have to, watch the whole of the games. That's 6-7 months with spring training. If they're in the playoffs, that's 8 months. So it's like, forget that. You can watch a good movie, Devil Wears Prada 2, and I will probably mostly, when I see it on the Hulu home screen, I'll forget about it. But it was good. Maybe if I want to fall asleep one night, I want to watch a few scenes of it and watch a bunch of people look really, really good in dresses and maybe catch the Lady Gaga cameo. Yes, this guy's got a Lady Gaga crush. She can sing, she's opinionated, and she's Italian. And when you take all that damn makeup off her face, she's even hotter. So yeah, she makes an appearance in the movie. That's one reason to watch it. But what else? Well, man, that's pretty much it. Cardinals and movies. That's pretty much what I cover here. And yes, it's a little warm, but I'm not going to crack the window. We are almost done with this thing. But yes, I am in it. The windows are not down because, heck, it rained. That would have made this podcast, wait for it, a wet podcast. Ooh, baby, I don't know if you can handle that. That's the future. And again, I don't know when I'm going to get back behind this thing. Or in front of this thing. Doing these is on a whim. My kid is playing video games. He gets over to my apartment and he goes at it. It's like intergalactic or war or racing. And I am most of the time just sitting there consuming it with him. I don't play as well. It'd be like watching an old person play Xbox for me to play anything but a sports game on there. He has to teach me how to fly planes, operate tanks, shoot the Germans. That's the game he's playing is World War II. It's like Saving Private Ryan, the end of it, where they're in that big town that's been blown to shit. That's pretty much the game that he plays. And I'm in there, and I'm like, man, they do a lot of losing on this game. But I'll think on a moment's time, I want to come out here and do a podcast. And here I am. When will I do it again? I don't know. When you're not really getting paid to do it, I make about, I'll be honest with you, I make about $2,000 annual a year from doing this podcast. $2,000. Not a lot of paid subscribers, and I get it. Times are tough. Everything's expensive. Uncle Bill's reopened on Kings Highway, and now I've been going to Uncle Bill's since I had a memory. It's been that long. That long since I've been going there. They closed last year. They reopened this year. Now, their classic breakfast item is a 2x2x2. It's like you get 2 eggs, 2 pieces of bacon, 2 pancakes, and I think, toast. That used to be about $13, even a couple years ago. Now, it's $16. The country fried steak, that was my Uncle Bill's go-to. It's just the meal, man. If you're hungry, it's a country fried steak about 3/4 the size of your plate. And I usually get the gravy on the side because they'll smother the shit out of it. I don't need that much gravy. I don't need that much Cyberg sauce on my wings. I just need to coat the things. Don't be like, hot sauce. So I get that, and then it used to come, this is the biggest difference. It used to come with 3 pancakes, and Uncle Bill's pancakes are no doubt pancakes. They're not monstrous, but they're not small. And it come with 2 eggs, I think, maybe 3 eggs, and hash browns. That's a meal, man. And that would cost $15. I think the one in Manchester and South County was $15. Now that's a worthy $14 to $16 meal. That's $18 at the new Uncle Bill's on Kings Highway. And guess how many pancakes you get? One. Look, I know Garcia's. You had to do what you had to do to open that place back up, but whoa. Okay. Unless I'm eating with Ryan Gosling. I mean, $18 for country fried steak. What if the chef takes a meal off? What? Here we go, back to the SCX. This is an adult podcast, by the way. What if he didn't have good sex last night? And now he's making everybody's meal that day. That guy's back there on the grill. He's pissed. His fantasy baseball team didn't do well. He watched a crappy movie. He watched too much baseball. His girlfriend won't talk to him because he's kind of a dick. And now he has to cook their food all day. So what if I pay $18 for Angry Henry's, omelet? Come on. But that's a sign of the times. That's why I don't gripe on people who don't pay for this podcast. I mean, pay for this Buffett's Buffet, which kind of acts as like a hybrid. It's articles, it's podcasts. I don't really do just the voice ones because it just never sounds right. It sounds like I'm recording that in the middle of a wind tunnel, wherever I'm doing it. So I just do the video. Because I always thought, if they can do it, it's cool to see somebody in their environment, whether I'm in my apartment or in this truck, whether I'm at work doing it, here doing it. Next to Francis Park, I did one. I did a podcast for a person, I did like 90 of them. And I think where I filmed them was like sprinkled around like an Uber driver. So, but I know that paying for this thing is not easy. I mean, I charge $5.50 a month. And what I give out right now is probably about 15 to 20. I'd say 18 to 20 on good months. Sometimes 22 different posts. That could be a podcast. It could be an article. Could be an article and a podcast. It's kind of like a hybrid. So, but I get it. Everything's more expensive. It's not easy to do that. And so when I get one, like for example, when Bernie Miklasz, he probably won't love to hear this, but I don't care, Bernie. You're not here. You do live close to my work. So if you need some plumbing, you know who to go to. Look, if you go to Crescent, you will literally get me to work. You will make me work for you for a minute. You'll go in there and buy a toilet and go, make that guy pick it. That guy right there eating popcorn, thinking about movies and drinking too much coffee. But he's a paid subscriber. And when I get those, I'm like, whoa, you feel like you just made somebody fork over cash that could be going to gas, which is almost $4 a gallon, or it could be going to groceries. Could be going to beer. We all need a beer. That's what I'm going to do. I'm staring at a beer. I'm staring at the beer I'm going to drink. There's a 6-pack of Michelob Ultra in that 7-Eleven that I'm going to go take down like Arnold would. Speaking of which, the big Austrian had a birthday yesterday. Before I got into serious movies, before I got into anything else, I am going to crack the window because I feel like I'm just this short of being interrogated and given the CIA answers they want. But the big Austrian Arnold Schwarzenegger did enjoy a birthday. I want to say he's in his mid-70s. The guy looks pretty good. He's walking around Venice Beach, working in outside gyms. This guy's in his 70s. He's moving around better than some of the guys in their 30s. And he's still making movies. He still has that same attitude. See, he never changed. And before I got into serious movies, actors like, Bernthal and Denzel Washington and Leonardo DiCaprio, all the actors I've watched over the years, I was an Arnold fanatic. Him and Stallone, man. And it'd be, I'm going to save the day, but like, I move over. It'd be like one of those guys, I'm going to watch you kill all the bad guys in one outfit, randomly eat meals, say some iconic lines. So the fact that he's still kicking around, doing movies, lifting video. The guy's got an Instagram page. He's got an email fan club. He's like, get the Arnold workout. You got to join his thing. He gives motivational. Imagine getting up for work, and before you go to your job, Arnold's going to give you a pep talk. Before you lift the pipe down, I want you to look at me, and I want you to focus. I'd be like, okay, man, I'm going to taking some notes. But the guy is a really impressive individual. Before he was an actor, he was the guy who brought gyms outside. He's responsible for that in Venice Beach and everywhere else. You see somebody working out in an outside gym, Arnold started that. He was also a real estate mogul. He was a guy who had properties, made a lot of money from real estate. Oh yeah, he's also an 8-time Mr. Olympia bodybuilding champion, okay? Talking about, the lifts, that's a lot of work. And then, after all of that, he's like, I'm going to become arguably the greatest action star of all time. But Sly's a better actor, and so is Bruce Willis, like the guys from when I grew up. Van Damme and Seagal were kind of in that, this is what they can do. That's what they do. I mean, it's like Ryan Reynolds can show off some acting chops, but he's usually going to play a wise-cracking action comedy guy. He does that in his sleep. He can do the rom-coms, and yeah, you can bury him in a coffin and call the movie Buried and have it be a pretty good movie, and he's really good in it. And you can have him occasionally tackle some dramatic roles, but he's okay doing what he's doing. But Arnold has always been Arnold, and that deserves some credit. He did redefine what action heroes could do and how they could be cool. There was just something about Arnold with a gun in his hand shooting at the bad guys. He's like, I'm going to kill all of you. He might lose in the beginning, but he's going to win in the end, and that made this kid feel good, who was constantly getting picked on. I had 10 people at my school on any given day making fun of my stuttering, so to go watch Arnold do his thing was like an escape. I was like, this guy, if only I had this guy at school going, the man's trying to say a sentence. I'd be like, he could just speak for me. And I'd be like, thanks, Arnold. No problem. Then I give him a cigar. He probably smokes about 3 of those a day. But he had a birthday. He is not 71. I'm thinking that, but that's too young. Him and Stallone are into their mid to late 70s, and they're still kicking. So thank goodness for that. Thank goodness for beer. That's what I'm going to go do right now. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I know it's a random, all over the place, South City Rambling Man podcast. I got to be discussing this and that and then beer all in the same 5-minute period. This is a long one, 32 minutes. So when you want to drift to sleep tonight, you can put this on, watch 10 minutes now, 10 minutes later, 10 minutes tomorrow. I appreciate all the support. I don't need your money. I will settle for your attention because I'm a lot. But as Popeye said, I am what I am. Take it or leave it. I'm going to get out of here and go get some beer and slowly consume it so I can enjoy my son winning the war, flying the planes, and then beating my ass in Forza. But there's nothing like riding a car on a video game through an open field and through trees and not having to worry about fixing it. So there's a little bit of escape there. But have a good one. And until the next article or podcast or I hate writing those, a few words. The last one would be about Glenn Hansard, just a great musician, 56 years old, motorcycle accident. Once again, folks, motorcycles are fun, but they offer you no protection. You can wear your big, thick, little black leather coat, and you will still get knocked about 10 feet. So be very careful on those motorcycles. Pay attention. Drivers are mean and they're stupid, and the roads are bad. So rest in peace, Glenn, and rest in peace to this podcast. See ya.